Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we are going to talk about something truly powerful, something that can change the way you speak English forever. We are going to talk about how to think and speak in English. Many people study English for years. They learn grammar rules. They memorize long lists of words, but they still feel stuck when they try to speak. Why does this happen? Because they are missing one important key. That key is thinking in English. When you change the way you think, you change the way you speak. When English becomes your thinking language, speaking becomes fast, natural, and easy. Chapter 1. The Power of Thinking English. Let me take you back to when I first started learning English. Every time someone spoke to me in English, my brain would work in a strange way. First, I would hear the English sentence. Then my mind would quickly translate it into my own language. Then, I would prepare my answer in my own language. Then, I would try to translate that answer back into English. By the time I was ready to speak, the moment was already gone. The conversation had moved forward. I was always behind. I felt slow. I felt nervous. I felt embarrassed. One day I made a decision. I said to myself, I'm going to try something different. Instead of translating back and forth, I am going to think directly in English. I am going to try to live inside the English language, not just visit it from the outside. It was not easy at first. My brain kept pulling me back to my own language. It felt safe there. It felt comfortable. But I kept pushing. I started with very small things. When I woke up in the morning, I looked at the window and said quietly in my mind, "The weather looks nice today." When I drank my morning tea, I thought, "This tea is warm and sweet." These were tiny sentences, but they were like small sparks starting a fire. Day by day, my brain began to get used to English. It stopped fighting me. It started cooperating, and something beautiful began to happen. Words started coming faster. Thinking started feeling lighter. English started feeling less like a foreign language and more like a familiar friend. Thinking in English is powerful because it removes the middle step. When you stop translating, your brain works directly with English. There is no delay. There is no confusion. Words come out more naturally because they were never locked behind a translation wall in the first place. Think of your brain like a muscle. Every time you lift a weight, that muscle gets stronger. Every time you think in English, your brain gets better at English. The more you train it, the more natural it becomes. This is not magic. This is simply how the human brain learns. Now you might be wondering, how do I begin? How do I start thinking in English if I am not used to it? The answer is beautifully simple. Start with what you already know. Look at the things around you right now. If you see a table, say in your mind, "This is a table." If you see a window, think, "The window is open." If you feel tired, think, "I am tired today." Use small, easy, simple sentences. Do not try to be impressive. Do not reach for big, complicated words. The goal is just to make English feel at home inside your mind. I remember one morning I was walking to school. I made a little game for myself. For 10 minutes, I would describe everything I saw in English. I looked at the sky and thought, "The sky is very blue today." I saw an old man walking slowly and thought, "That man is walking carefully." I passed a shop and thought, "This shop has many colorful things in the window." At first, it felt a little strange, like I was playing a children's game. But after a few days, it stopped feeling strange. It started feeling normal. And normal is exactly what we want. Talk to yourself in English. I know that sounds unusual. People might think it is a little funny, but this is one of the most powerful habits you can build. When you are alone, in your room, in the kitchen, on a quiet walk, describe what you are doing. Say out loud or in your mind, "Now I am washing the dishes. The water is cold. I need to hurry. I am almost done." You are training two things at once, your mind and your mouth. They are learning to work together in English. Some people worry and say, "But I do not know enough words. What if I cannot find the right word?" This is a wonderful problem to have, because the solution makes you smarter. If you do not know a word, describe it. If you do not know the word refrigerator, you can say, "The big cold machine in the kitchen where we keep food." Your brain has to think creatively in English. It has to stay in English to solve the problem. This is training at its best. Let me share a moment that stayed with me forever. One day in class, my teacher asked me a question. In the past, I would have panicked. I would have started translating desperately in my head. But that day was different. That day, without even planning it, I answered directly in English. The sentence was not perfect. I made a small grammar mistake, but I answered. Quickly, naturally. My teacher smiled, and I felt something I had never felt before in an English class. I felt free. That moment taught me that thinking in English does not just help you speak faster. It gives you courage. It takes away fear, and fear is the biggest invisible wall standing between most learners and fluency. When English starts living inside your thoughts, it stops being something scary. It becomes something ordinary, and ordinary things do not frighten us. Here is another technique that helped me greatly. Imagining conversations in English before they happen. For example, I would imagine walking into a shop. In my mind, I would practice the whole conversation. How much is this shirt? It is $10. Can I pay by card? Yes, of course. Thank you. Have a nice day. I created small movies in my head, entirely in English, and when the real situation arrived, I felt ready. I had already been there in my imagination. Try changing small things in your daily environment to English. Change the language on your phone. Write your to-do list in English. Label things in your room with sticky notes in English. These small changes keep English visible and alive around you. The more you see English, the more you think English. The more you think English, the more naturally you speak it. And please remember this. Thinking in English is not about being perfect. It is about practicing. Even 5 minutes of English thinking during your day is valuable. Do it while you cook. Do it while you wait for the bus. Do it before you fall asleep at night. Small daily practice creates enormous results over time. There were many days when I forgot, many days when I was busy and tired and my English thinking habits simply did not happen. But I never gave up. The next morning, I always started again. And slowly, week by week, something remarkable began to happen. I noticed that I was speaking faster. I noticed that I was understanding more. I noticed that conversations were becoming easier and more enjoyable. All of this grew from one simple seed, the decision to think in English. So remember this always. If you want to speak English well, you must first think in English. Speaking starts in the mind. Change your thoughts and your words will follow. Be patient with yourself. Be consistent every day. Talk to yourself. Describe your world. Imagine your conversations. Use simple sentences. And never stop practicing. Thinking in English is like opening a door inside your brain. At first, the door is very small and heavy and difficult to open. But every day that you practice, the door gets a little bigger and a little lighter. One day you will push it open with no effort at all, and you will walk through it with a smile. And on the other side, speaking English will feel completely natural. It will feel like home. Chapter 2. Train your brain to speak without translating. Let me ask you a simple question. When someone speaks English to you right now, what happens inside your head? For most learners, the process goes like this. First, the English words enter the ears. Then the brain quickly converts them into the native language. Then the brain prepares a response in the native language. Then it tries to translate that response back into English. And finally, the mouth speaks. This is a very long journey for a very short conversation, and it causes a lot of problems. It makes you slow, it makes you nervous, and sometimes it makes you go completely silent just when you most need to speak. I know this feeling well. I remember a friend once asked me a simple question, "How was your day?" Such a simple question, but my brain turned it into a very complicated process. I translated the question. I prepared a long, detailed answer in my own language. I started translating it into English, and by the time I was almost ready, my friend had already started talking about something else completely. I stood there feeling invisible, feeling left behind. That evening I sat quietly and I thought about what had happened, and I realized with great clarity that translating was not helping me. It was trapping me. It was building a wall between me and real communication. So I made a new rule for myself. Stop building long answers, stop constructing perfect sentences. Just respond simply and immediately. Instead of planning to say, "Today was an incredibly busy and stressful day because I had so many responsibilities at work and at home," I just said, "My day was busy." Short, clear, real. That was enough. My friend understood me. The conversation continued, and I felt something wonderful. I felt present. Training your brain to stop translating takes time and patience. In the beginning, your brain will still try to translate. It is an old habit, and old habits are stubborn. Do not become angry with yourself when this happens. Just gently bring your thoughts back to English. Imagine you are training a young child. You do not shout at the child when it forgets. You calmly show it the right way, again and again until it learns. One exercise that helped me tremendously is what I call quick response practice. Ask yourself a simple question in English and answer it immediately. Do not think for a long time. Do not prepare. Just answer. Ask yourself, what am I doing right now? Say immediately, I am reading. Ask, how do I feel? Say immediately, I feel calm. Ask, what do I see around me? Say immediately, I see a table and a cup. Keep the answers short. Keep them fast. Speed is the whole point of this exercise. Another helpful exercise is word linking. Choose one simple word, for example, the word morning. Now quickly say in English all the words connected to morning. Coffee, sunrise, quiet, fresh air, birds, getting up. These words flow from English directly to English, no native language in between, no translation, just English connecting to English inside your brain. This is exactly the kind of direct connection you want to build. I used to practice this while taking walks. I would look at something, a tree for example, and quickly say connected words: tree, green, leaves, tall, shade, cool, nature. I kept everything in English. I refused to let my brain switch languages. After some weeks, something remarkable happened. My brain stopped trying to translate. It simply started thinking directly from English to English. Here's another idea that works very well. Limit your vocabulary on purpose. This sounds strange at first, but listen carefully. When you try to use very difficult advanced words, your brain often has to slow down, search, and sometimes translate. But when you use simple everyday words, your brain moves quickly and confidently. Simple English is powerful English. Instead of saying, "I am extremely exhausted," just say, "I am very tired." Both sentences mean the same thing, but the second one comes faster and feels more natural. When you remove the pressure of trying to sound impressive, your speech becomes smoother. You feel lighter. You speak more freely. Let me share something personal. There was a time when I spent enormous energy trying to use big words because I thought it would make me sound more intelligent. But what actually happened was the opposite. I sounded slower, more uncertain, and more uncomfortable. The day I decided to simply speak clearly using simple words was the day my English started to sound truly confident. Shadow speaking is another powerful technique. This means listening to a short English sentence and repeating it immediately before you have time to translate it. When you repeat so quickly, your brain has no choice but to follow the English directly. It builds speed. It builds natural rhythm. It builds confidence. When I first tried shadow speaking, I struggled. The speakers talked quickly. I made many mistakes. But I kept practicing, day after day, and slowly my tongue moved faster. My mind reacted quicker. My responses came more naturally. The translation habit was breaking, and in its place, a new habit was growing. The habit of direct English thinking. You must also make peace with mistakes. When you stop translating, you will sometimes say incorrect grammar. Your sentences will not always be perfect, and that is completely fine. Fluency always comes before perfection. First, you learn to flow. Then you learn to polish. Think of children learning to talk. They never translate. They listen and they speak. They make thousands of mistakes, but nobody stops them. And because of this freedom, they become fluent. Your brain is powerful. It can learn new patterns at any age. What it needs is permission. Permission to be imperfect. Permission to try. Permission to make mistakes and keep going. Give your brain that permission today. Reduce overthinking. This is very important. Many learners spend so much time in their own heads worrying about grammar, worrying about pronunciation, worrying about what the other person will think. All this worrying actually makes translation stronger because a worried brain clings to what is familiar, and what is familiar is the native language. Instead of worrying, trust yourself. Speak first, correct later. The first time I truly spoke without translating in a real conversation, my heart was beating fast. My sentences were simple. They were not perfect, but they were mine. They were real. And after the conversation ended, I felt a kind of joy I cannot easily describe. It was the joy of freedom. So train your brain every day. Practice quick answers, use simple words, connect English to English. Try shadow speaking. Reduce your overthinking. Be kind and patient with yourself. Your brain is learning. Even when you cannot see the progress, it is happening quietly, steadily, deep inside. One day, someone will ask you a question in English, and you will answer immediately and naturally. No translation, no fear, just the beautiful flow of natural speech. That day is coming. Keep training. Chapter 3. BU. Build daily English thinking habits. Let me ask you something. Do you brush your teeth every day? Of course you do. You do not think about whether to do it. You just do it. It is a habit. Now imagine if thinking in English became the same kind of habit. Something you just did automatically, every single day, without effort. That is the goal, and it is absolutely possible. When I was working hard to improve my English, I made a very important decision. I stopped waiting for special study time. I stopped saying I will practice English later when I have more time. Instead, I began weaving English into the fabric of my ordinary daily life. When I was brushing my teeth, I thought quietly, I am brushing my teeth. The toothpaste tastes minty. My face looks tired. When I put on my shoes in the morning, I thought, these shoes are comfortable. The left one is a little loose. These thoughts were tiny. They were imperfect. But they were powerful beyond their size, because habits are not built with grand gestures. Habits are built with small, repeated actions. The same small thing done again and again until it becomes part of who you are. One beautiful habit you can start tomorrow morning is what I call the morning English wake-up. Before you touch your phone, before you check messages or news, give 2 minutes to English thinking. Say in your mind, today is Tuesday. The room feels cool. I slept well. I have a busy day ahead. Keep it simple. Keep it short. The purpose is not to produce perfect English. The purpose is to switch your brain into English mode from the very first minute of your day. When I started this habit, I forgot many times. Some mornings I would reach for my phone before I remembered, but I kept returning to it, and after some weeks it became something I looked forward to. My day started in English, and it gave me a quiet confidence that stayed with me through the morning. Another powerful daily habit is describing your surroundings. Wherever you are, whatever you see, describe it in English in your mind. If you are sitting in a room right now, think, the room is quiet, there is a window on the right. The light is soft. Outside, I can hear birds. This practice does two beautiful things at the same time. It builds your vocabulary and it builds your speed, because you are searching for English words in real time without any safety net. Create a thinking time for yourself each day. It does not need to be long. Even 10 minutes in the evening, during those 10 minutes, allow only English inside your mind. If your brain tries to switch to your native language, gently pull it back. Do not be harsh. Just guide it back, like you would guide a friend who got distracted. This regular, gentle training teaches your brain to stay in English for longer and longer periods. Before sleeping each night, review your day in simple English. This was one of the habits that helped me most. I would lie in bed and quietly in my mind go through the day. I went to work this morning. I had a meeting. I felt a little tired in the afternoon. I saw something funny on my way home. This simple nightly review practiced both thinking and memory at the same time, and it helped new words stay in my memory much longer. Ask yourself questions in English and answer them immediately. What do I feel like eating tonight? Maybe rice and vegetables. Why am I feeling a little anxious today? Because I have something important tomorrow. This question and answer habit is surprisingly powerful. It is like having a small conversation with yourself entirely in English, and it prepares your brain for real conversations in a very natural way. Connect English habits to things you already do without thinking. Every time you drink a glass of water, say one sentence in English in your mind. Every time you open a door, form one English thought. These small triggers, scattered throughout your day, add up to something significant. They keep English alive and active inside your mind all day long. Keep a small English notebook. Every day write 5 simple sentences about your real life, not copied sentences. Your own real sentences about your own real day. I woke up later than usual today. The weather is surprisingly cool. I spoke to my sister on the phone. Writing this way teaches your brain to organize thoughts in English. It builds a bridge between thinking and expressing. Something very important. Watch your inner voice. What do you say to yourself about your English? Many learners carry heavy negative thoughts. My English is terrible. I always make mistakes. I will never be fluent. These thoughts are not just uncomfortable. They are actively harmful. They create fear, and fear blocks learning. Replace these thoughts deliberately and consistently. I am improving every day. My English is getting stronger. I am on the right path. Positive inner language builds positive learning habits. Habits only work if you maintain them. Many people start with tremendous enthusiasm. They practice every day for 1 week. Then something disrupts the routine. They miss 2 days, then 3, and then they quietly stop. And months later, they wonder why their English is not better. The answer is always consistency, not perfection, not intensity. Just showing up every day, even on the hard days. On the days when you feel truly tired and unmotivated, do not try to do a lot. Just do something small. Think in English for 5 minutes. Say 3 sentences out loud. Write 2 lines in your notebook. Starting is always the hardest part. Once you start, you usually continue. And even if you do not continue, those 5 minutes were not wasted. They kept the habit alive. They kept the fire burning. Habits are like small drops of water falling into a bucket. One drop seems like nothing, but drop after drop after drop, the bucket fills. Your daily English thoughts, however small, are filling your mind with fluency. Be patient. Be consistent. Trust the process. One day you will wake up and realize that your mind is thinking in English without any effort at all. That day is your reward for every small drop you added. Chapter 4. Speak with confidence, not perfection. Let me be honest with you. When I first started speaking English, I made many mistakes. My grammar was often wrong. My pronunciation was sometimes unclear. I used words in the wrong way. I forgot words completely in the middle of sentences. But I kept speaking. Every single day, I kept speaking, because I understood one truth that changed everything. If I waited to become perfect before I spoke, I would wait forever. Many learners fall into this trap. They say, I will start speaking when my grammar is better, when my vocabulary is bigger, when I feel more confident. But here is the beautiful and important truth. Grammar becomes better when you speak, not before you speak. Confidence grows when you speak, not while you are waiting to speak. The only way to get better at speaking is to speak. I remember a day when I was asked to say a few words in front of a small group. My heart was pounding. My palms were sweating. I desperately wanted to say no, but something made me say yes. I stood up. I spoke in simple English. I made mistakes. I stumbled over some words. Some people in the group noticed, but I finished. I said everything I wanted to say, and I sat back down feeling something extraordinary. I felt strong. I felt brave. I felt like I had climbed a small mountain. That day I learned something I will carry with me always. Courage is more important than correct grammar. The courage to open your mouth and speak, even imperfectly, is worth more than 1,000 hours of silent studying. Fear of making mistakes is the great enemy of English learners. So many talented, intelligent people stay silent because they are terrified of saying something wrong. They imagine people laughing. They imagine embarrassment. But let me ask you to think about this differently. When a small child is learning to walk and falls down, does anyone laugh and say how terrible? What a failure? No. Everyone cheers the child on. Everyone cheers the child on. Everyone celebrates the trying. Learning to speak English is the same beautiful journey. Falling is part of walking. Mistakes are part of speaking. Every mistake you make is teaching you something. If you say a word with the wrong pronunciation and someone gently corrects you, now you know the right way. That mistake was a free lesson. Be grateful for it. Welcome it. It means you are in the game. It means you are learning. Focus on communication rather than perfection. The whole purpose of language is to share what is in your heart and mind with another person. If that person understands you, you have succeeded. You have done what language is designed to do. You do not need perfect grammar to communicate clearly and warmly. I also want to talk about something that held me back for a long time. I used to compare myself to other English speakers. I had a friend who was remarkably fluent. She spoke English with ease and grace. When I compared myself to her, I felt small. I felt like no matter how hard I tried, I would never reach her level. This comparison was poisoning my progress. One day, I decided to stop comparing myself to others and only compare myself to my past self. I asked, am I better than I was 3 months ago? The answer was always yes, and that yes was enough. That yes was fuel. Focus on your own journey. Your starting point is different from everyone else's. Your path is your own, and your progress, however small it seems, is real and it is yours. Talk to yourself kindly. Use encouraging words with yourself. I am improving. I am getting better every day. I can do this. I am brave enough to try. The words you say to yourself inside your mind become the beliefs you carry, and your beliefs shape your behavior. Choose beliefs that lift you up. Pay attention to your body language when you speak. Stand tall. Keep your head up. Look at the person you are talking to. Smile when it is natural. Even if inside you feel nervous, your body can act confident. And a very interesting thing happens. When your body acts confident, your mind begins to believe it. Confidence can be practiced from the outside in. Speak in safe and comfortable places first. Practice in front of your mirror. Record your own voice on your phone. Speak with your closest friends who will not judge you. As you feel more comfortable, slowly increase the challenge. Speak with strangers. Join a group. Put yourself in situations where English is required. Each small step builds the next step. Fluency is not speed. Please remember this. Fluency is smoothness. You can speak slowly and be fluent. What matters is that your words flow without long, painful stops. Take your time. Breathe. Think in English. Speak calmly and clearly. A slow, clear sentence is worth much more than a fast, confused one. Celebrate every win, no matter how small. Did you say a full sentence today without freezing? That is a win. Did you answer a question without translating? That is a win. Did you try even though you were nervous? That is a big win. Every small victory is building something large inside you. It is building the confidence that will one day carry you through long, effortless conversations. Surround yourself with people who support your learning, people who encourage you when you try, people who smile at your mistakes instead of mocking them. A warm and supportive environment makes a remarkable difference to how fast and how freely you grow. And always remember this gentle truth. Nobody is perfect. Not even people who have spoken English since birth make perfect English every time. Language is not about perfection. Language is about connection, human connection. When you focus on connecting with the person in front of you rather than performing a perfect grammar test, something relaxes inside you. And when you relax, the words come more easily. When the words come easily, your confidence grows. And when your confidence grows, you speak even better. It is a beautiful cycle. You do not need to be perfect to start, but you need to start in order to become better. Speak today. Speak tomorrow. Speak every day. Even a little. Even imperfectly. Even nervously. Just speak. And one beautiful day, you will look back at the person you once were, the person who was too afraid to open their mouth, and you will smile with pride. Because you did not give up, because you kept going, and because you are now the speaker you always hoped to become. Chapter 5. I'm View Your Vocabulary, the Smart Way. Here is something important I want you to hear clearly. You do not need a very large vocabulary to speak good English. You do not need rare or complicated words to express yourself well. Most everyday conversations use a fairly small number of common words. Words like go, come, make, take, give, get, good, bad, feel, think, want, know, need. These simple words, used well and with confidence, will carry you through the great majority of conversations in your life. When I first began learning English, I made a very common mistake. I thought that memorizing as many words as possible was the key to fluency, so I sat down with long word lists. I copied 50 new words every day. I tested myself. I wrote them again. But after 1 week, most of those 50 words had quietly disappeared from my memory. I felt deeply frustrated. Then I changed my approach completely. Instead of learning many words shallowly, I began learning fewer words deeply. I chose one small common word, the word get, and I explored it fully. I get up in the morning. I get tired in the evening. I get ready before work. I get home after 8. I get better with practice. One small simple word and so many natural uses. That discovery changed how I learned forever. Smart learning is always better than hard learning. Learn words inside sentences, not alone. If you memorize the word alone as a single item, the word hungry, it floats unconnected in your mind. But if you learn the full sentence, I always feel hungry after exercise, that word has a home. It has context. It has meaning that you feel, not just know. Sentences give life and stickiness to vocabulary. I kept a small notebook with me for a long time. Whenever I met a new word, I did not just write the word. I wrote a simple sentence using that word. A sentence about my own life if possible. If the new word was excited, I wrote, I feel excited when I learn something new. Personal connection makes words much easier to remember. Learn vocabulary by topic and theme. Spend 1 week exploring food words: rice, bread, vegetables, sweet, salty, delicious, full, hungry. The next week, travel words: passport, ticket, bus, hotel, arrival, departure, journey. When words are grouped with their friends, your brain stores them together and retrieves them together. This makes speaking more natural because related words come out naturally in groups. Here is a habit that transformed my vocabulary learning. Every day I focused on only 5 new words, not 20, not 50, just 5. But I was determined to truly own those 5 words. I used them in sentences. I said them out loud. I thought about them during the day. I tried to use them in real conversations. Because of this deep daily repetition, those words became permanently part of me. Repetition is the secret engine of vocabulary. Reading is one of the most powerful and enjoyable ways to grow your vocabulary. When you read simple English books, stories, or articles, you meet words living in their natural environment. You see how they behave. You understand their meaning not from a dictionary definition, but from the living story around them. Even if you do not understand every single word, try to guess from the context before checking the dictionary. This guessing exercise trains your brain to think in English. I remember reading a simple story about a boy and his dog. There were words I did not know. But instead of stopping and translating, I kept reading. I tried to understand the feeling and meaning from the story itself. Later, I checked some words in the dictionary, and because I had already felt their meaning from the story, they stayed with me much longer than words I had simply copied from a list. Listening also builds vocabulary in a deeply natural way. When you hear words spoken in real conversations, in songs, in videos, in stories, you hear how they sound. You hear the rhythm they create. You begin to feel which words go together naturally. Try to notice common everyday phrases. How are you doing? Not bad, thanks. What is going on? These phrases are not made up of difficult words, but they are used constantly in real English conversation. Learn them as complete living units. Use synonyms to enrich your expression. Knowing that happy also means glad, pleased, delighted, or joyful gives you choices. Knowing that big also means large, enormous, or huge allows you to be more precise. But do not try to learn too many synonyms at once. Learn 1 or 2 at a time. Use them. Let them settle before adding more. Flashcards are simple and effective. Write a word on one side. Write a simple sentence using that word on the other side. Review them for 5 minutes every day. Short daily review is far stronger than one long weekly study session. Your brain remembers what it sees regularly far better than what it sees once. Always try to use a new word on the same day you learn it. If you learn the word magnificent today, look for a moment today to use it. The sky looks magnificent this evening. This meal is magnificent. This view is absolutely magnificent. When you use a word in real life on the day you learn it, something happens in your brain. The word gets marked as important, as useful, as real, and it stays. Do not chase complexity. Simple and clear vocabulary, spoken confidently, sounds far more impressive than complicated vocabulary spoken hesitantly. Many of the most powerful communicators in the world use simple words. What gives them power is not the difficulty of their words. It is the clarity of their meaning and the warmth of their delivery. Connect new words to your own personal life and experiences. If you learn the word frustrated, think about a moment when you truly felt frustrated. Feel that memory. See that word as the name of that feeling you know so well. Personal emotional connection is the strongest glue for new vocabulary. There were times in conversation when I completely forgot a word I needed. I felt a flash of embarrassment, but I had learned not to freeze. I simply described what I meant in other simple words. This actually helped my communication skills grow, because now I was not dependent on knowing the exact perfect word. I could always find another way to say what I meant, and that flexibility is a kind of fluency all by itself. Vocabulary grows like a garden. You cannot force it to bloom overnight. You water it every day with reading and listening and speaking and writing. You are patient. You are consistent. And season by season, your garden becomes fuller and more beautiful. So learn fewer words, but learn them deeply and truly. Use them often and in real situations. Repeat them with patience. Connect them to your life. Learn them inside sentences. Practice every day and watch your vocabulary grow into something that serves you naturally and effortlessly whenever you need it. Chapter 6. Think in English during real conversations. Thinking in English when you are alone is one thing. You have time. You can pause. You can correct yourself. Nobody is waiting. But speaking in a real conversation is a completely different experience. The other person is right there. They are waiting for your response. Your heart beats faster. Your mind can suddenly feel empty. All the words you practiced seem to vanish into thin air. This is normal. This happens to almost every English learner. Please do not let it discourage you. I remember my very first real conversation with a stranger in English. It was not planned. I was not prepared. The person asked me something simple and friendly, and my mind went completely blank. I could feel the words hiding somewhere inside me, but I could not reach them. I wanted to translate. I wanted to escape. But I took one slow breath, and I said a very simple short sentence. It was not perfect, but it was enough. The conversation continued, and something important had begun. In real conversations, the first and most important rule is listen carefully. Many learners are so worried about what they will say next that they stop truly listening to what is being said. But good listening is the foundation of good speaking. When you listen fully and openly, your brain has time to absorb the meaning and gently prepare a simple response in English. When someone asks you something, do not panic. Do not rush. Take one quiet breath. That tiny pause is not a weakness. It is a tool. It gives your brain a moment to stay in English and form a simple, natural response. Answer with simple sentences. If someone asks what you did yesterday, you do not need to tell a long, detailed story. You can say, I stayed home and cooked something simple. That is completely enough for a real conversation. Simple answers keep conversations moving. Complex answers often lead to getting lost. Learn and practice conversation patterns. Many common conversations follow predictable and friendly patterns. Greetings. How are you? I am doing well, thank you. Introductions. What do you do? I work in an office. Small talk about weather. It is quite hot today. Yes, I hope it cools down soon. When these patterns become automatic through practice, you do not need to think about them at all. They just flow. And this frees your mind to focus on the more creative parts of the conversation. Practice common questions and prepare short, simple answers. Where are you from? What do you enjoy doing? How long have you lived here? Prepare natural short answers to these questions. Practice them until they feel effortless. Because in real conversations, these questions come up again and again. And when your answers are ready and natural, you feel confident from the very beginning of the conversation. Stay calm when you do not understand something. If someone speaks too quickly or uses an unfamiliar word, do not panic. Simply say, "I am sorry, could you say that again, please?" Or, "Could you speak a little more slowly?" These are perfectly normal and polite things to say. And native speakers say them too. Asking for clarification is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of good communication. If you forget a word during a conversation, do not stop. Do not go silent. Describe what you mean in other words. If you forget the word umbrella, say the thing you open and hold above your head when it rains. Communication is about meaning, and meaning can always be expressed in simple, creative ways. Train yourself to catch the key words in sentences. You do not need to understand every single word to understand the main idea. If someone says, "I was absolutely exhausted after work today because we had so many urgent and complicated deadlines," the key idea is exhausted after work. Focus on the heart of the sentence. Let your brain be quick at finding the center of the meaning. Practice short, real conversations with friends, family, or classmates. Choose simple, comfortable topics like food, your day, a movie you watched, a place you want to visit. Keep the conversations short, but make them regular. 5 minutes of real conversation every single day will transform your English faster than any textbook exercise. I remember when I began having these short, daily conversations. At first, I was nervous and slow, but after a few weeks, something began to shift. My answers came faster. My brain started responding in English without being asked to. The translation step was quietly disappearing, and in its place, natural English was growing. Use your body while you speak. Smile, nod, show with your face and eyes that you are engaged and listening. This does two things. It makes the other person feel comfortable and understood, and it makes you feel more relaxed. A relaxed body creates a relaxed mind, and a relaxed mind thinks in English much more easily. Accept mistakes and keep going. If you make a grammar error in the middle of a sentence, do not stop. Do not apologize. Do not rewind and start again. Just continue. Finish your thought. Most people are far more focused on the meaning of what you are saying than on whether you used the past perfect tense correctly. After each conversation, take just 1 quiet minute to reflect. Ask yourself, what went well? What could I say more naturally next time? This gentle, honest reflection helps you grow steadily without feeling negative or defeated. The more real conversations you have, the easier each one becomes. The first 10 conversations might feel hard. The next 10 will feel noticeably better. After many conversations, thinking in English while speaking will feel as natural as breathing. Real conversations are real training. You cannot learn to swim by reading about water. You must get in and move your arms and trust the water to hold you. So do not wait for perfect confidence to arrive. It will not come before you speak. It will only come through speaking. Start with small, simple conversations. Use short, clear sentences. Listen fully. Stay calm. Keep going even when you stumble. And one beautiful day, in the middle of an ordinary conversation, you will suddenly realize, I am not translating anymore. I am just talking. That is the moment English truly becomes yours. Chapter 7. Make English a natural part of your life. Many people treat English like a school subject. They sit down, they study for one focused hour, they close the book, and then English disappears from their life completely until the next study session. This approach is slow and difficult and exhausting, and it does not lead to natural fluency. But when English becomes woven into the fabric of your daily life, improvement happens faster and more naturally. Not because you are working harder, but because English is always present, always gently active, always quietly building inside you. Language is not only something you study. Language is something you live. If you only study English, it will live in your notebook. But if you live English, it will live in your mind and in your heart. When I truly began to improve, it was not because I was studying more hours. It was because I changed my environment. I surrounded myself with English from morning until night. I listened to English music while making breakfast. I watched English videos in the evenings. I read simple English stories before sleeping. I changed the language on my phone and my laptop. English was everywhere around me. It became the air I breathed rather than a task I completed. At first, it felt tiring. My brain worked harder than usual. I felt mentally exhausted some evenings, but slowly and steadily, something beautiful began to change. English stopped feeling foreign. English stopped feeling like a guest in my mind. It began to feel like it belonged there. And when something feels normal, you stop fighting it. And when you stop fighting it, you start flowing with it. Create an English environment at home. Put small sticky notes on the objects around you. Write window on the window. Write door on the door. Write mirror on the mirror. These tiny visual reminders keep English quietly present in your mind throughout your day. You see the word. Your brain recognizes it. The connection strengthens just a little bit more. Choose English entertainment whenever you can. Watch movies or shows in English with subtitles. As you grow more comfortable, try without subtitles for short periods. Listen to English podcasts while walking or cooking. Listen to English songs and try to understand the story or feelings in the words. When learning is also entertaining, it stops feeling like work. And when it stops feeling like work, you do it more, you enjoy it more, and you improve more. I began watching simple English shows every day. At first, I understood only pieces, a word here, a phrase there, but I did not stop. I kept watching. And after some weeks, I understood more. After some months, I noticed something that amazed me. I was thinking in English while watching, not translating, just thinking naturally in the language of the show. That is the power of regular English entertainment. Connect English to the things you already love. If you love cooking, watch cooking videos in English. If you love sports, read sports news in English. If you love fashion, follow fashion accounts in English. When English is connected to your genuine interests and passions, learning becomes genuinely exciting. Your brain pays more attention, it remembers more, it grows faster. Create small English moments throughout your day. During breakfast, think only in English for 5 minutes. During your evening walk, describe everything you see in English. These small moments of contact with English add up to something significant over time. Consistency is the quiet engine of all language learning. I want to share something honestly personal with you. There were days when I felt truly tired of learning. Days when I felt like I was not improving. Days when I wanted to take a long break from English. And sometimes I did rest. Rest is healthy, but I never quit completely. I always kept a small flame alive. I listened to English for just 10 minutes. I said a few sentences to myself. That tiny small effort was enough to keep the learning alive until my energy returned. Think about your future in English. Imagine yourself speaking confidently in English with someone you respect. Imagine the ease and the joy of it. Imagine the doors it will open for you. When you dream in English, when you visualize your future in English, your brain begins to believe that this future is real and possible. And what your brain truly believes, it works quietly to create. Celebrate your progress regularly. Look back at yourself from 6 months ago, from 1 year ago. Compare that person to who you are today. You will see growth. You will see courage. You will see real and meaningful improvement. Progress in language learning can feel invisible from day to day, but when you look back over months, it is unmistakable and wonderful. Take ownership of your learning. Do not wait for a teacher to push you. Do not wait for perfect conditions or the perfect course or the perfect moment. Take responsibility. You are in control of your own English journey. The more you use English in your life, the stronger it grows inside you. Think of English as a close and dear friend. If you speak to a friend only once a week, the friendship stays distant and formal. But if you speak to that friend every single day, the friendship deepens and becomes natural and warm. English is the same. The more you speak with it daily, the more it becomes part of you. Most importantly, enjoy the journey. Do not let learning English feel like a punishment or a burden. Let it feel like an exploration. Every new word is a small discovery. Every conversation is a small adventure. Every lesson is a step forward on a path that leads somewhere genuinely wonderful. Remember where you began. Maybe you were afraid to speak a single sentence. Maybe every English conversation felt like climbing a steep mountain. Now look at yourself. You have learned how to think in English. You have trained your brain. You have built habits. You have spoken with courage. You have grown in ways you may not fully see yet, but they are real. Making English natural does not happen in one night. It happens step by step, day by day, with daily contact, with daily courage, with daily love for the language and the journey. One morning you will wake up and something will feel different. You will be thinking in English before you even realize it. Conversations will feel smooth and natural. The translation step will be gone, and English will finally feel like yours. Keep practicing. Keep thinking. Keep speaking. Surround yourself with English. Believe in your own ability. Celebrate every small step, and never forget that every tiny effort you make every single day is building something beautiful inside you. This is not the end of your journey. It is the beginning of the best part. Keep growing, keep improving, keep shining. Your voice in English is waiting. Let it out.